Imagine sitting across from a billionaire who decides to tell you the truth. Not the polished Instagram advice, not the fake hustle quotes, but the real lessons that come from building wealth, losing sleep, taking risks, and living through decades of success and failure. That's exactly what you're about to hear. These are lessons from Robert Herjavec, lessons about money, fear, discipline, relationships, and the future. If you're tired of average thinking and want real direction, stay with me until the end. Robert starts with a simple but powerful idea. If you have nothing to sell, sell joy. People don't remember your resume. They don't remember your job title. They remember how you made them feel. Energy is more valuable than money because money can be replaced, but energy cannot. If you walk into a room with confidence, positivity, and purpose, people feel it instantly. This applies to business, relationships, and even YouTube. A creator with average information but strong energy will always outperform someone who is smart but boring. Protect your energy at all costs, because it is your real currency. One of the most important lessons Robert learned came from his father. He said that if you work hard and save money, you'll never be poor. But just because you work hard and save doesn't mean you'll ever be rich. Wealth doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from knowledge, leverage, experience, and timing. Life doesn't change overnight. It changes in stages. In some passes, saving and security matter. In other phases, taking risks matters. Knowing which phase you're in is the real skill. In his 20s, Robert was desperately poor. He wasn't dreaming about building great companies or changing the world. He was simply trying to escape poverty. Money felt limited, and he believed that once he had it, life would become perfect. He did become a millionaire in his 20s. In his 30s, he sold a company for $35 million. That's when a new question appeared. What is the real purpose of money? What actually creates happiness? Over time, he realized that money removes stress, but it doesn't automatically create meaning. Meaning comes from creating value and impact. As he grew older, his priorities shifted again. In his 60s, he still protects his assets because he doesn't want to go backward, but he also wants to take bigger risks and do more meaningful work. Truly successful people are rarely satisfied for long. They don't sit still. They stay restless, curious, and driven. That restlessness is often what separates ordinary people from those who achieve extraordinary things. Income alone doesn't define success. Context matters. Making $100,000 a year in one country can mean comfort and freedom. Making the same amount in another city might mean survival. The real question you should ask yourself is this. At this stage of your life, what matters? More income or experience? If you're young and don't have heavy responsibilities, experience is far more valuable than money. Skills compound, knowledge compounds. Income comes later. When it comes to debt, Robert makes a clear distinction. There is good debt and there is bad debt. Good debt grows your business or creates tax advantages. Bad debt comes from personal spending, credit cards, and lifestyle inflation. If you're buried in debt, the fastest way out is sacrifice. Fewer luxuries, fewer distractions. A few hard years can completely change your future. Building a great business while drowning in personal debt is extremely difficult. One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is choosing business partners based on friendship. Instead of skill, liking someone is not enough. You need partners who complement your weaknesses, and more importantly, you need clear rules for disagreement. Business partnerships should be treated like marriages with prenups. You must decide in advance who makes the final call when things go wrong, because eventually, they will. Business itself has no emotions. It doesn't care about your feelings, your excuses, or your personal struggles. When you start a business, it's like adopting a living being. It needs constant attention, especially in the early years. Balance comes later. Wealth comes later. In the beginning, obsession is required. Without full commitment, most businesses fail not because the idea was bad, but because the founder wasn't ready for the responsibility. Surprisingly, one of the most important factors in success has nothing to do with business. It's relationships. The person you choose to spend your life with can either support your growth or silently drain it. The right partner makes hard days easier. The wrong partner makes easy days heavy. In a world that can feel lonely, having someone who truly supports you can change everything. Most people aren't lazy. They're afraid. Fear freezes action. Fear convinces people to stay comfortable, even when they're unhappy. There's a big difference between dreaming and obsession. Dreams require nothing from you. Obsession demands action. Progress only happens when you push through fear and move anyway. Time can be wasted at any age, but it's especially dangerous in your 20s. You eventually have to choose between short-term pleasure and long-term preparation. Discipline early creates freedom later. And remember, success has no age limit. Some people start early. Others start late. What matters is starting it all. Through all the ups and downs, Robert holds on to one belief. No matter how bad today feels, tomorrow is another chance. During the hardest period of his life, when his mother was seriously ill, words weren't enough. So he turned to action. He started running every day. The physical pain became a distraction from mental pain. Each run became a small win. Everyone needs to find their own way to reset when life becomes overwhelming. One question that comes up again and again is whether people waste important periods of their life. When Robert looks around rooms filled with investors, venture capitalists, and financial experts, he notices something strange. Many of them have impressive degrees and credentials, yet very few have ever built a business themselves. It makes you think. Real-world experience teaches lessons that books and classrooms never can. Theory without action creates confidence without competence. Another major time leak is partying and constant entertainment. In your 20s, you eventually face a decision. Either short-term fun matters more, or long-term preparation does. Disciplined early doesn't mean you miss out on life. It means you design a better one later. Robert admits it was easier for him because he wasn't popular or constantly invited out. That lack of distraction gave him time to learn, study, and build. Time wasted today becomes regret tomorrow if you're not careful. But success isn't locked to age. You're never too old, and you're never too young. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s. Some people win early. Others win late. The only real failure is never starting. Life doesn't follow a fixed timeline, and comparing your journey to someone else's only creates unnecessary pressure. During the darkest moments of life, optimism can feel fake. Robert experienced this firsthand when his mother was seriously ill. Telling yourself that tomorrow will be better doesn't always work when the pain is real. Instead of forcing positive thoughts, he turned to physical action. He started running every single day. The discomfort of running became stronger than the emotional pain he was carrying. Each run created a sense of progress. A small win. Over time, those small wins rebuilt his mental strength. The lesson is simple. When your mind is overwhelmed, move your body. Action can do what words cannot. Growing up, Robert struggled with focus and hyperactivity. At the time, conditions like ADHD weren't commonly diagnosed. But looking back, he knows he would have been labeled that way today. He had difficulty controlling his emotions and staying still. What he learned over time is that success doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness. Many highly successful people have learning differences or cognitive challenges. Some struggle with numbers. Some struggle with focus. The key is knowing your weakness and compensating for it through systems, repetition, and preparation. You don't need a perfect plan to succeed. What you need is a clear vision. In his 20s, Robert realized something important. He couldn't reach his goals in 1 year. Like most people, he was overestimating what he could achieve in the short term and underestimating what was possible over a decade. When he started, he was poor, inexperienced, and unsure of his direction. By 30, he was a multimillionaire and one of the top experts in his field. None of that came from a perfect roadmap. It came from clarity about where he wanted to go and the patience to let time do its work. Starting a business is often described as jumping off a cliff. Robert strongly disagrees. Blind risk is not bravery. It's stupidity. Smart risk means walking down first and checking how deep the water is. Calculated risks build businesses. Reckless risks destroy them. One rule he lives by is never taking a risk that could wipe out everything. Losing part of your business is painful. Losing all of it can end the game entirely. People often talk about becoming the average of the 5 people you spend time with. Robert believes this depends on where you are in life. In his 20s, He wasn't surrounded by successful people. He worked factory jobs and loaded trucks. Those people weren't responsible for his future success. At early stages, environment matters less than effort and focus. As you grow and succeed, your environment naturally changes. You begin to attract people aligned with your direction. Hard living creates an easy life later. Robert has met people like David Goggins and Cameron Haynes, individuals who push themselves far beyond comfort. He doesn't consider himself extreme, but he believes deeply in self-discipline. When you choose to do hard things daily, life becomes easier by comparison. If the hardest part of your day is something you voluntarily chose, external challenges lose much of their power. In his early years, Robert wasn't chasing success. He was running away from poverty, embarrassment, and limitation. That emotional drive gave him a powerful edge. Once he achieved success, that constant pressure faded. It didn't change who he was, but it calmed him. Instead of running away from something, he began running toward something. Purpose replaced fear. Looking ahead, Robert is convinced that artificial intelligence will change everything. We're still at the very beginning. If he were starting over today, he would devote massive time to learning AI. Just as he once did with cybersecurity. Industries evolve, but opportunity always exists for those willing to learn early. AI will reward people who invest time now, while others hesitate. When it comes to legacy, Robert holds a simple belief. You can't rule from the grave. What matters is the impact you make while you're alive. If he could leave one message behind, it wouldn't be advice or money. It would simply be love for his wife and his children. Success means very little if it isn't shared with the people who matter most. Burnout is real, and ignoring it is dangerous. Robert has come close many times, but learned to step back before crossing the edge. You cannot be successful without health, physical and mental. Knowing when to slow down is not weakness, it's intelligence. Wealth without health eventually collapses. When Robert was poor, he believed money would eliminate anxiety and fear. In some ways, it does. Financial stress destroys relationships and mental peace. But wealth doesn't guarantee happiness. Problems don't disappear. They simply change shape. Money removes survival pressure, not emotional responsibility. Many people obsess over finding a mentor. The truth is, formal mentorship is rare. Successful people don't always have time, but models are everywhere. Books, interviews, videos, and real-life examples can all guide you. As you grow, your mentors should change. Different stages require different teachers. The difference between a millionaire and someone worth $10 million is leverage. Hard work alone can take you to $1 million. To go further, you need people. Teams. Shared missions. Leadership is the multiplier. No one scales alone. Every small business reflects the emotional state of its founder. A struggling business often signals a struggling entrepreneur. Personal growth and professional growth are inseparable. While bad people can succeed financially, they are rarely fulfilled. Long-term success demands internal stability. One of the scariest risks Robert ever took had nothing to do with business. It was dancing live on television. It terrified him, but it paid off in unexpected ways. Growth often hides behind discomfort. What scares you may be the very thing that expands you. Working out, for Robert, is not just fitness. It's meditation. It's focus. It's clarity. In a noisy world, full of distractions, solitude and movement create mental sharpness. Focus is one of the most powerful competitive advantages you can build. If Robert lost everything tomorrow, he would return to expertise. The world rewards people who truly know their field. Services-based businesses require little capital and rely on skill, not luck. Knowledge is portable wealth. It cannot be taken from you. Distraction is everywhere. Like horses wearing blinders, focus requires intentional limitation. Every day, Robert identifies the 3 things that truly matter. Not the dozens of tasks screaming for attention, just the few that actually move life forward. Progress is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Technology remains his passion because it rewards value creation quickly. Whether it's cybersecurity or artificial intelligence, learning deeply creates opportunity. The future belongs to those who prepare early, stay focused, and act consistently. And weep that the lesson is complete. Success is not a single decision. It's a lifetime of small choices, repeated daily, guided by vision, discipline, and courage.